All right, Ultimate Hoops Nation, Reid Nelson along here with Joe Neuenfeldt. We are coming to you from Vegas. This is the Ultimate Hoops This Week in Rec Las Vegas edition. We're going to start out the show. We had a chance to sit down with Dan Silver and Willie Clark Jr. of Deep Dish. They are both here right now. So here are their thoughts on this weekend's events. All right, UH Nation, I'm here with Willie Clark Jr. of Deep Dish. Take us through the decision to make the trip out here to Las Vegas.
I mean, it's our first time coming out here. Heard a lot of talking, a lot of, rumbling around the nation, and we decided to build a team and come represent for Chicago.
What was the strategy for putting a team together?
We want to put together a couple of players that are really defensive oriented, some good good role players. Like, we don't want anybody that's going to do too much. We want everybody that's going to play their role, know what they got to do. This is what they got to do. This is how they got to do it.
Have you studied any of the competition?
No, we haven't studied any of the competition. Feel pretty good about our team. We're very defensive-minded, and I think we'll be able to handle just about anybody.
Thank you, sir. Good luck. We'll see you tonight. Yeah. All right, UH Nation, I'm here with Dan Silver, correct?
Yes, sir.
Of Deep Dish. I just talked to your teammate, Willie Clark Jr. Talk about, the decision to come out here. It's obviously a big one. A lot of teams struggle to do so. What were the steps for you guys to make the trip out here?
So we started the process a few months ago, deciding that we really wanted to put a team together. Since it's been out in Vegas, we haven't really brought anything. 3 years ago, we had a good tournament in Chicago that Minnesota took out one of our top teams, and now we just think it's time to come somewhere else and do the same.
Las Vegas, there's a lot of temptation. Do you have any plans for tonight after the selection show or tomorrow night after the red carpet event?
It's all business.
You're just strictly business. So where are you staying?
We're staying at the Holiday Inn, trying to stay as far away from the Strip as possible.
That's a good plan. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. So that was Dan and Willie from Deep Dish. Chicago's making a return trip to the tournament after a season off, or after a year off. Any thoughts on them?
Well, 2 years since they played. I'm curious because if you check out their stats in the illustrious PPV, they appear very strong. But we don't really know, it's been long since the days of Ballin and the other Chicago teams. So I don't know what they got anymore. So I'm very curious to see. Chicago historically has not performed all that great in national tournaments / Midwest regional tournaments.
Okay, so the decision, it hasn't been announced that they're the number one seed, but it's kind of obvious. The decision's likely going to be the number one seed. They were the runner-up last season. Many people had them as their champions. They're coming back full roster plus a couple of players. Is there anybody here, and we'll talk about the mob in a bit, who you think can beat the decision?
Well, back to your automatic number one seed, the PPV that you and Ellen rely so heavily on, they're like sixth in the PPV. So I had to factor that in to the tournament seeds. But I wonder why add, I noticed they added one of the guys that played for Downtown the past 2 seasons, Philip Valdez, I believe is his name. So I'm curious why add, why have 11 guys? I doubt that will be better for them, but I expect them to be very strong. They were very sound defensively, and we know that usually defensive teams do very well.
Okay, the mob from Las Vegas, 3 teams from Las Vegas. Let's touch briefly on the mob. They've got all-time block leader Travis Scribner. They got Chase Skinkiss. They've got John Cox. They've got a team that many think can make some noise. What are your thoughts?
I think they have the talent to make some noise. I think they're going to have a very strong starting 5. They've, like usual, Vegas teams, they've gone through a little bit of transition, turmoil, additions, subtractions in the last few days / couple weeks. But I think if they can get it together, put their heads together, they have a couple really strong, smart players. I think if they let them lead the show, they'll do very well.
So tomorrow we start at 9 a.m. Tonight, selection show at 8 p.m. I'm not exactly sure when this is going to be uploaded, but it'll probably be sometime after the selection show. And then Saturday or Sunday, Championship Sunday, we're going to start at 10. You've got to make a prediction right now. Who's going to win this thing? Who is it and why?
Well, I I mean, the smart money has to be on the decision right now. They have to be as focused and as hungry as any team maybe we've ever seen, given what took place last year, which I still think it was a block. I don't think it was a charge. But, they got as close to anyone.
Stuck that in there.
They got as close to anyone at beating the Bulls, who are, or does it really matter? No matter who wins, everyone's just going to say the Bulls are still the champs because the Bulls aren't here. But I believe the decision will be in the title game. I can't go as far as to say that they're going to win because I'm not sure karma's on their side, given last year. So maybe there's some underlying things that's why it didn't work out for them. So I'm going to say the decision in the title game, and they're going to face a Vegas team for the title.
The underlying, you talked about karma, underlying things. I need more.
Well, I mean, the decision, they're a nice guy. They're nice guys, but remember, they had never lost a game before coming to Vegas last year. And when they did finally lose a game to the Magicians Alliance, a few of them didn't exactly handle themselves with the most grace. And it just kind of makes me wonder that when you borderline lose control like that, and then it comes down to one play, one call that could go either way, and it didn't go your way. It makes me wonder if that could be why. Also, you named your team the Decision after LeBron James and him burning down the city of Cleveland. You're asking for the basketball gods to bring trouble to you when you do that.
Okay, one of the big topics of the weekend, or leading up to this, at least in the Midwest, and rightfully so or not, is, hey, there's not a Minnesota team here, so it's not a true national champion. My personal opinion aside, which I'll get to in a second, what are your thoughts on that junk?
Well, it is junk. I mean, it's, the national champion plays in the national tournament. So if you're not here, you're no longer the national champion. We would love to have the Bulls, but for whatever reason, a variety of reasons, they couldn't make it. For a number of reasons that, relate to being unorganized, Team Izzy and DuPont and Jansen and Samas couldn't make it, so they're out of the conversation. Izzy, yes, the best teams are in Minnesota, but the national champion's here, so you should be here. You're not, we'll miss you, but I got a fake Izzy beard going.
And Izzy, no, you cannot have one of these awesome jerseys. Sorry, we're all out. Because I know they're going to ask me. Give me one of those jerseys, Reed.
What is your opinion on it?
I think it's junk. I mean, it's been junk. It was junk 3 years ago when the Memphis guys made a big deal out of it. Last year there was nobody, but I don't like that. You have a full year to look for flights that are $180 or $190. So when you wait 7, 10, 15 days before and they're $450, $480, I don't necessarily feel badly.
Vegas is a relatively inexpensive place to travel to if you book it in time, etc. So, Izzy. Izzy is the kind of guy who would show up and then still probably complain about something or multiple things or whatever. So, Izzy, love you, but you are who you are.
Speaking of Izzy, let's transition to some Minnesota rec, because I know that's what you really want to talk about. I believe there was a game between, I think it was the Rebels, and I think they played the Gorillas, and I think that it was kind of a blowout. I saw the box score. What happened there?
Well, we got them once during the regular season. Usually they get us in the regular season, and then we end their season in the playoffs. But this time, so hopefully that's not going to reverse this season. But it's a great rivalry. I know every Minnesota guy will be mad because I'm talking about the Rebels because they think I've only ever done Rebels and nothing else. But it's a great rivalry because, two very good teams that usually perform well. But also, we don't really like each other all that much. I mean, we're a real rivalry. I mean, I'm friends with Izzy, but Batiste and I have had our problems. Chris Maher, I don't think has ever said a word to me, or maybe never will. Helmy is definitely not a fan. So we're not best friends, but that's why it's such a good rivalry, because it actually means something instead of just, everybody being all lovey-dovey after.
Bob 5 forfeits the game last night. What happened there? Have you heard anything? I didn't hear anything.
The only thing I can think of is Izzy and Dustin are driving to Vegas, so they had to skip the game and, I don't know, but you're a title team. Act like it and show up for your game.
I mean, we're 6 weeks through the season now, a couple weeks left in the regular season. Who's your surprise team in rec this year?
Well, you have to like what the Red Devils have done. You worry a little bit about their depth if they lost Van Ort. They've been, but they usually do have a strong regular season. I'd say the Squires also. I really like what they've done. I don't know this Matt Hamill guy, but he seems to be a very good addition to every team he's on. You know, I love the addition of him and Meade to the Celtics. They seem to have kind of rejuvenated that franchise. Hot Tub knows what he's doing, regardless of what anyone else, Briggs or anyone else says. He very much knows what he's doing. So I like the Squires to maybe get over that little playoff hump where they don't get past the Elite Eight or so. Maybe advance to the Final Four.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. Hot Tub does know what he's doing, but I mean, Meade and Hamill were gift packaged to him. I mean, they were looking for a team in Fridley, and when they knew that the Celtics were calling, it was a no-brainer for them. So,
however it happened. You know, I mean, sometimes it works out that way. Does it matter if they were gift wrapped to you or if you worked your butt off to acquire them? You know, I mean, it's being a GM is not an easy thing, and you know, I mean, I for the most part like that the Celtics have kept a lot of core guys, some of my favorite players of all time, the Samuelson brothers. But you know, a guy like Izzy has no right to rip on Hot Tub when he changes his team in some way every single season.
I see Alan Rice is in the building. I'd really love to get a few seconds with him. Okay, lastly, Rebels, take them out of the equation. Who's got wrecked this season?
That is an excellent question. I really think there's only about 6 or 7 legit contenders. If the Rebels are out of it, I think I'm very torn between the Celtics and the Lakers. I think it really will depend on if they have to face each other. Because if they have to face each other, I think Jay Sam's loyalty is to the Celtics, and that will be the difference. But if the Celtics somehow get knocked off earlier, which is absolutely possible, I think the Lakers are actually, you know, even after that first loss of the season, are strong enough enough star power in their starting lineup to win it all.
Any final thoughts on either the national tournament or Minnesota Rec?
I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited for the national tournament. We always have a lot of fun. It's unfortunate that the Minnesota partiers won't be here, but I think it'll still be a good tournament, fewer games, so more time to enjoy ourselves. And Minnesota Rec, I just want to give a shout out to Brandon Lorencott for the Bad Girls 3, one of my favorite teams of all time.
Thank you, sir.